with closing, well, it's absolutely flat on the index as of now. Yes, there's a recovery from the lows, but as you can see, it's not really building into anything more substantial. Flat line, preserving the 20 DMA. That's been the story of trade today. Let's take up that question on CG Power. Anuj was just pointing out before we went into the break, there's a bit of a move on the stock, 39 rupees on it now. It's one of those underperformers of the year that has started moving higher in the recent market rally. So last 2-3 weeks have been very good for CG Power. Let's pull up maybe a 6-month chart if we can. Mr. Tulsen, after the price damage that we saw, all of last year, is there any fundamental change, or this is just part of the market's mood and sentiment?
See, Surabhi, I think on 14th Feb, when post this Q4 numbers, we saw the share price falling to a level of 20 and moving back to 40 plus, or maybe now closer to about 40. And yes, a lot of news flows are seen lined up. In fact, the pledge shares got invoked by the lenders, and now there have been all talks going on that even the way we have been seeing in Jet Airways, where the promoters are fighting to continue with the stake control. Actually, in Jet, ultimately they conceded to the lenders, and lenders took over the control of the company. But in case of CG Power, the things are seen to be very much in the hands of the PE investors, or going forward. That yes, even promoters have taken a mandate with the lenders, those who have invoked the pledge, that they will retransfer the shares to them, probably having given some timeline or maybe relief in them, and holding those shares as a security. But PE investors are seen to be talking. In fact, one or two strong PE investors are seen to be very much interested in acquiring the company, because if you take the EV of less than 5,000 crore, if I take market cap of 2,500 crore and maybe the net debt of not more than 2,000 crore on a consolidated basis, and when they have seen their other units having turned EBITDA positive, whether you talk of Ireland or you talk of Thailand, I'm not talking, and Hungary sales, probably if once it happens, because they've already transferred all the proceeds, everything to the escrow account, and if that happens, probably that alone news flow of Hungary transaction getting consummated can make the shares to move up by about 10-15% from here, for maybe to a level of 45. And once you have this PE investor coming into the company, then it can rise further by about 15-20%. So yes, you have news flows, and one can take that 36 to 38 seem to be a good support now. As I said, that EV of less than 5,000 crore on a yearly sales of a 5,000 crore for a capital goods company seem to be quite low. So yes, you have all kind of news flows lined up. One has to really allow these news flows to get reflected in the time to come.
Okay, by the way, there's clearly a lot of buying in the mid-cap market today. Just look at some stocks, United Breweries and United Spirits, both moving to the high point of the day. Not essentially mid-caps, some of them, of course, large-cap, non-index large caps as well. But that's UB, and USL should also come up. That's also at the high point of the day. Cement seen some buying today once again. Shree Cement, India Cement, both at high point right now. Just pull out both these names as well, Shree Cement and India Cement. India Cement about to break, Shree Cement about to break into the green. India Cement has already done that. And the other one which is making a bit of a move right now is Exide. In fact, for 2 days now, we've seen some kind of buying in Exide. Mr. Tulsian, your thoughts on a stock like Exide? It's started to see some buying. It's made some kind of bottom at around 195, 200. In fact, we've seen the trend with both autos and auto ancillaries.
That's right, Anuj. In fact, auto stocks have all bottomed out. Yesterday afternoon also we have talked on this, and probably, in fact, yesterday afternoon I've said that 4 auto stocks are really looking quite good. They are Maruti, Eicher, Ashok Leyland and M&M, and maybe Escorts, if one can add, though we are taking that as a agri equipment maker. But yes, going forward, that auto ancillaries are also seem to be catching up, and to this battery makers, in fact, Amara Raja, after this Johnson Control exiting from the company, and this Exide, both are seen to be quite good, because the valuation having corrected. And now if you see the zinc and lead prices, if the zinc prices falls, the lead prices also generally seen falling in tandem, and that is seen positive for the car battery makers going forward as well. So yes, both the sectors, that is auto and auto ancillary space, are looking good, and Exide can definitely be looked into along with the Amara Raja at the current valuation.
Okay. Today, even the mid-cap market is actually very quiet at the index level. Beneath the surface, obviously, there's movement. So some more names, for instance, NBCC is trying to find some traction on about a 2% up move on NBCC. That's what we have going. Some of the life insurers have done well today. Check out ICICI Pru. Look at what's happening with HDFC Life. So these are some stocks on which some gains are seen. Mr. Tulsian, before we wind up for the day, what is the advice on some of these life insurance stocks? Because, I mean, as an overarching themes, one keeps hearing very positive commentary because of lower penetration levels, etc. But in the near term, let's say next 6 months odd, would you advise keeping any of them in the portfolio?
In fact, we advise all three, or maybe for that matter, all four life insurance stocks. And if I go in the pecking order, probably HDFC Life, SBI Life, ICICI Pru and Bajaj Finserv, because actually two stocks gave us good entry point. If you recall, as ICICI Pru had seen OFS when it fell to a low of 325 and did not, then thereafter it shot up quite well. Similar sales we have seen in the SBI Life also a week back, but it fell to maybe below 580 or 575, and HDFC Life has been ruling at those levels for quite some time. So in fact, if you want to look pure in life insurance play, then all three are looking good in the pecking order of, as I said, HDFC Life, SBI Life and ICICI Pru, because ICICI Pru having risen quite a lot in this last 1 month from a level of 320 to 360, maybe given a third preference. And if you want to have a combined finance portfolio along with the NBFC holding in it, then Bajaj Finserv can also be looked into.
Okay, Mr. Tulsian, thanks a lot for joining us today. We'll of course talk to you tomorrow now. For now, just look at Tata Power's intraday chart. That's seeing a bit of a surge right now. Market is actually quite okay. It's been seen some kind of bottom perhaps intraday. Adani Power as well. Both Tata Power and Adani Power actually surging now, both making highs of the day. BHEL as well, Torrent Power. So that seems to be all of a sudden the sector of the moment. Any thoughts on this one, Amrish? Anything that you would want to buy?
In power?
Yes.
In power, I think, yeah, like what you said, Tata Power possibly could be a decent bet at these levels. Again, I mean, in addition to power, not too many people are aware of the defense play which is there within Tata Power. So I think one can look at a level of possibly about 87, 88. It may not be a sort of a huge gainer from here, but I think it's a safe 15, 18 rupee move.
Okay, on that note, Amrish, stay on. We'll come back to you with some more questions. We have Gautam Shroff of Edelweiss also joining us. Gautam, hi, good afternoon.
Hi, Anuj, good afternoon.
Your thoughts on the kind of market move that we have seen in March? We had a one-way rally. One of the best months that we've had in recent memory. April seems to be a bit more volatile. Do you expect this volatility to pick up as we move closer and closer to the May 23rd D-Day?
Anuj, I think with each day passing by, the event risk is getting out of the way. So I think, while we may have volatility, which will of course continue with the new set of news and the sentiment, but overall I'm positive. I want to believe that with every day passing by, we are moving towards stability with a positive outcome.
Okay, let's put a number to that, Gautam. We were having this offline chat. So if overall positive, how much more from the all-time high would you give this market, let's say over the next 6 months post-elections?
So once elections are out of the way, I think, what investors will look at is earnings. Again, the whole conversation, the whole narrative will be anchored back to earnings on which we are positive. So I want to believe a 5%, 6% upside on Nifty easily possible. 12,000 plus levels is something that I would say we will get in the next 6-8 months' time.
Okay. And what would lead that? In the past, we've had Reliance, TCS, HDFC Bank being the leaders. You reckon it would be the same?
Yeah, I would want to stick to large caps because, see, of course, mid caps have a lot of value left, but I think this rally will continue to be led by large caps, and institutional investors would any day prefer deploying money in large caps before visiting the mid caps. So I want to believe the same Reliance Industries, the HDFC twins, and a few corporate banks which will lead this rally.
Okay. And before I ask you my next question, I just want to pull up some of the lines that we got from Mr. Bhargava today. We had a conversation with him again on the auto sector. And it's a little different, little contrarian, because FADA yesterday told us, that's the Automotive Dealers Association, that the worst is maybe over. That's not quite the view that we got from Mr. Bhargava, because he said that we should not go by wholesale numbers. Retail is still not picking up. And I mean, he didn't sort of sound too optimistic on the immediate term. In fact, he's gone on to say that expect the slowdown to last till October. And that's a voice from an industry veteran. So Gautam, we're getting very conflicting views from the ground on auto. What are you doing with this segment? Are you willing to buy the dip?
No voice.
Can you? Okay. I think we seem to have lost that line with Gautam. We'll just try and reconnect with him in a minute. Let's see if there's anything changing on the screens. Not really. Adani Power, okay. Some more interest in power stocks. Tata Power, actually, what is happening with power? Anuj? Suddenly there's Tata Power, there's Adani Power. Let's put up the intradays on these stocks. I don't know if this is trading, there's something else. Or since it's Adani or Tata, I don't know if it's a tariff issue with Gujarat.
Yeah, it's a tariff issue, but I think the market seems to be betting almost on a weekly basis about that, the long pending Mudra issue, CERC. The way they're moving in tandem, perhaps, is explaining that something like that is happening, Surabhi. But the way it's moving is very interesting because the entire move has happened in last 5 or 10 minutes. So, of course, we don't have any information on that, so we'll have to wait for any kind of clarity. In fact, there are other stocks as well moving right now. ITC has started to make a move once again towards 300. Thoughts here on ITC, Amrish?
No, ITC overall has been an underperformer for quite a while, although I've been bullish on this stock, I think, for the last 1.5 to 2 years. And I still continue to be because I think the move has just about started. And like I've been saying earlier also with the sin tax and all that behind us, and no possibly surprises going ahead. And especially with the hotel business coming back on stream, especially, we are seeing the ARRs also improving. FMCG has picked up extremely well for them, and their main bread and butter business anyway has been, we have seen the volumes also continue to move up, although not at the same pace as what we have seen earlier. So, I really will not be surprised in this year. Talking of the next possibly 9 to 12 months, I'll not be surprised if we see levels of about 360 to 380 for the stock.
380. Wow,
yeah,
that's a good sizable upside on ITC that Amrish is expecting. But for now, let's just get back to the conversation with Gautam as well. Gautam, we lost your line. What I was trying to ask you was that signals are still very mixed on the ground from the auto sector. But is this a buying opportunity? Would you buy this dip?
I would wait for buying auto maybe a quarter or two. And I'm saying this because, the discretionary spending, I think, will still take some time. With central banks being dovish, with our own RBI doing everything possible to ease the liquidity, the transmission of rate cut is yet to happen. And I think for spending to come back, it will take some time. So maybe a quarter, maybe two before we see the uptick in volumes come back.
What about mid-cap IT? Is there any picks that you have here? We've seen Mindtree, of course. There was a deal. NIIT Tech, there's been a deal. There's clearly consolidation happening over here. Any picks here?
In mid-cap IT, we of course like L&T Infotech, and I think that company has a lot of value, and going forward, we think there's a lot of money to be made there. That is one pick that I like in that space.
Okay, well, nothing's changing on the indices. Nifty, Sensex, mid-cap, absolutely flat. Today, the needle's just not shifting. Gautam, I'm talking about now some of the overweight calls that you have going, and one of them is cement. I believe you like JK Lakshmi and ACC, two stocks. Now, what's the rationale and why these two specifically?
You see, we want to play infra. I think spending on infra is back with the disbursements from the banks. I think there's a lot of focus of the state governments to go and spend money there. So we clearly like cement, and I personally, and we like ACC and JK Lakshmi Cement because we see that, they've taken price hikes, and ACC is very well poised in central India where I think the demand will come from. Hence, we want to believe that ACC is, there's a lot of value there in ACC now.
Okay, ACC, there's a lot of value, but let's see how that one moves. You have Divi's as one of your top picks, but I wanted your thoughts on Lupin because that's showing signs of bounce back. Dr. Reddy's as well. Thoughts here?
So pharma space, of course, these three stocks are our top picks, Dr. Reddy, Lupin and Divi's. And I think Dr. Reddy, with that strong pipeline and they're trying to reduce their losses in the biologic space and the proprietary business, I think this cost control measures will play out very well in Dr. Reddy's. Lupin, I think, good entry point amid depressed valuations and strong product pipeline with Renexa. Even their specialty product Solosec is playing out well, is poised to bring in revenues. That's why we like Lupin. And Divi's, I think, revenues and margins are back to pre-import level days, which augurs very well. I think that clearly states that it is the partner of choice for CRAMS. And it's a China structural story play. It's the best poised to go and encash that story.
Okay. All right, Gautam, of course, the other theme that market has been speaking about for a while before elections is this whole rural demand. Now, are you a believer in that? Is there still time to play it till the 23rd, or is it too late? And if so, how are you doing it?
I think rural story is here to stay. We clearly see consumption pick up there. The credit is flowing there. There's no kind of drought or distress or any of those bad news are out of the way. It's pretty stable. So I would want to play rural. Of course, we like one financer. I think M&M, Mahindra & Mahindra Financial Services is our top pick in that space. In the agrochemical space, I want to say PI industry is something that we like. And amongst the FMCG, Dabur is something that we like. So these 2-3 put together is something that we want to play in the rural economy. And I think there is a good alpha that can be created there.
Gautam, there's some bit of buying happening in Bharti Airtel. It's clearly made a bottom, and for last few days, few weeks, there's been some buying. On some days, I've seen large delivery buying as well. What do you think the street is trying to build here? You think that there could be some price discipline going forward? Is that the expectation?
Anuj, see, telecom as a sector we've started liking of late for a simple reason. The industry has consolidated. ARPUs have halved. So a 7-company industry is now a 3-company. ARPUs from 195 peak of 195-200 levels is hovering around 100-105. Nowhere in the world ARPUs have halved for telecom players. So, and the market leader today, Reliance Jio, is very close to achieving its aspirational market share. I think they will touch that 400 million subscriber mark by this December 2019. And we want to believe that Reliance Jio will take a price hike in the second half of 2019 once they touch that mark, at least in the smartphone market. So all this will augur very well for Bharti Airtel because Bharti has gone and invested a lot of money in their networks. And they are focusing on deleveraging their balance sheet. So multiple levers there. I think they can sell their Infratel stake. The Africa business can do an IPO. So there can be a lot of deleveraging on the balance sheet. Plus, what we have to understand is that once Reliance Jio takes a price hike, Bharti will follow and followed by Vodafone and Idea, which will augur very well. So we want to believe this industry size will expand. And telecom is a high operating leverage business. 70% of the incremental revenue straight goes down to the PBT. And that's where we believe that, Bharti Airtel, there is a lot of value and we can make a lot of money here. There's a big value there.
All right, Gautam, we'll leave it there today. Thanks a lot for joining us. By the way, that 3 p.m. move is absolutely flat on the index, 11,600 on the Nifty and 29,800 on the Nifty Bank. It looks like is the equilibrium. So that's what we should be prepared for. But you never know, things change these days at around 310. But for now, the first move is slightly on the upside, actually. Amrish, you wanted to make a point while you were having that conversation about telecom.
Yeah, because see, telecom, I don't think it's a question whether telecom will do well going ahead or not. It's a question of which of these 2 or 3 companies will actually stand out. Jio anyway is not listed. I think like that plays clearly via Reliance. But whether, you'll make more money in Vodafone Idea or whether you'll make more money on Bharti. So I think that operating leverage is much more in Vodafone Idea, and especially the way it has cracked just not the price, but also the ARPUs. ARPUs were, I think the blended ARPUs were closer to about 135, 140, even about a year back for both these companies. And now, as a consolidated one, the ARPU has come down to 89. And they have the highest number of subscribers, I think about 38.5 crore subscribers, vis-a-vis Bharti, which is about 33. So even if we, see Vodafone Idea's ARPUs moving up, say 15, 18 rupees, closer to Bharti, straight away the, addition to bottom line is about 7,000 crores. If you're talking of, savings in terms of efficiencies through operational synergies and consolidation, I think the savings should be about 8,000 crores by FY21. So looking at all this, I think a stock which is today quoting at about closer to 15, 16 because of the rights issue, which again is at 12.5, I think the upside is much more than what possibly one could get with Bharti at levels of 350. So for a Vodafone to move from these levels to 30, 32, where it was before it became ex-rights, could be much faster than possibly a similar move in Bharti. So I think from that point of view, one should be looking at it.
Okay, so you're taking a contrarian call there, going with the third biggest operator. That's Vodafone Idea. That's Ambarish's view. By the way, take a look at the move on Reliance itself. It's trying to pull the Nifty up back to 11,600 thereabouts. A big spike out there. Perhaps, Sanuj, that is some of the expiry impact playing out, perhaps? Yeah, that's a sharp move on Reliance.
That's a move on Reliance, and that's leading the Nifty back above 11,600. Surabhi, obviously, so that's clearly played out. Apart from that, there are a couple of other stocks as well where we're seeing some moves right now. Just looking at some moves. Asian Paints, that's beginning to make some kind of move. There's a move in Dr. Reddy's. That's also quite interesting. So
there's also Indiabulls Housing Finance. Interestingly, the stock has gone all over the place since the news came out. Right now, for whatever it's worth, Indiabulls Housing is up 3%, days high on that stock as well. Interesting. All right.